Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Adobe Live, and I am your host, Chris Blackstock. It's 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're here with graphic and typography designer Angelo Konofoas on Adobe Live as he shares how to create 3D lettering effects. Hi, Angelo. How you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Doing very good. Excited for the show today?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. We'll shake out the nerves early on.
Yeah, totally excited.
Guys, just want you to check out the Creative Cloud Express streams on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday mornings. This week with Claudia from Print My Soul, we'll show how to get started in the easy-to-use app to design an Instagram post and how to make free digital flyers, which is pretty cool. Also, join us for the creative encores of the Photoshop Creative Challenges, and that's every morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This week, our challenges are logo themed. So learn how to create and use logos in the app. Very cool. And we got our chat here. Looks like Wade is helping us out today on the chat. Hi, Wade. How's it going? We got Steve Festus. What's up, Steve? I think I saw General Kenobi in there. Tim Loomis. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And if you're on YouTube, come on over to behance.net/Adobe Live. You guys can join in the chat here with us. Ask Angelo any of your desires, burning questions about his process. Hi, Angelo. How's it going? And please show us your work. Tell us what you're doing today and give us all the details.
Of course. Yeah. So hi, everyone. I am Angelo. I'm a graphic designer, but with a wider meaning. I accept graphics. I like working also with motion, with video, photography, and lettering, obviously. I'm based in the UK, but I'm originally from Greece. I have been here for nearly 6 years now, where I work as a graphic designer on the marketing industry. I would say that I'm kind of a marketing or brand designer by day, but I have a lettering addiction, which I enjoy a lot. In general, when I discovered lettering, it was, in social media, the community. It was amazing. I was impressed. I remember the first artist I saw, it was like, yes, that's what I would like to do. So I started searching everything about lettering. Then I included it on my work. I also started my own YouTube channel with, lettering tutorials and speed arts. And so I have also, so I have my website. If you'd like, we can have a look on some of my works.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's go through some collections of lettering because this is the main subject. And so here, for example, I have some letterings which are kind of, flat, not with some effects. It's kind of more of a logo designs, or most of them are kind of for t-shirt designs and apparel. But it's kind of, for example, this one was also for a client for a t-shirt design. But if we can go and see some of the more into what we're going to do today. So here I have another collection, which is about, this is kind of 3D lettering, which I use a lot of different techniques on 3D. It can be in Photoshop, would be another software, but everything usually goes through Photoshop because, I like to make all the final touches. For example, that one, this was entirely created in Photoshop. It was actually, it looks like 3D. I haven't used any 3D tools in Photoshop. It's made with Mixer Brush tool, which we're going to see a bit more later because this is what I was planning to use. And this by the way was the first design. It was featured by Adobe on social media.
I can see why.
When I saw that, I was like, yeah. But yeah, and it will be similar to this. For example, this was a design I was created like a long time ago. It was with a collaboration with another great designer. He is a lettering artist, Gus Olea, very good. And so we are split the design in two. I did the word matter, he did the word details, and same as here. On that one, I did use a lot of effects. I wanted to explore more of what techniques I could use, like the bubbles, which I'm going to use some of these techniques today too and tomorrow. So yeah, I don't know if we can go and start creating the design.
Yeah, let's do it. And that's angeloknf.com, correct? That's where we can find your website.
Yes, and it's the same for Instagram and Twitter and most of.
Awesome.
Also on YouTube, if you that's the same.
That's right, because you got videos on YouTube as well, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of YouTube. Like, I enjoy like doing some speed arts. Maybe sometimes they're not very consistent, but I like doing that.
Definitely. Yeah, but go ahead and take us through what we're going to do over these next 2 days, and especially obviously what we're going to do today.
Okay, so yeah, what I'm thinking is I'm going to have two words. So the quote will be pure blend, obviously inspired by the blending technique, which we're going to see later. And so I'm going to have different style for each of the two words. One will be created mostly in Illustrator, and the other one mostly on Photoshop, actually just in Photoshop. And so for the word pure, I'm going to use Illustrator. So let's start, and I have created a sketch, which I'm going to bring in now.
The chat's really digging your work, by the way, just letting you know. Everybody's loving the lettering.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, guys. Okay, so that was a big sketch, I guess. So yeah, you can see two words here, obviously, because every lettering artist, if you ask them, they will say, so most of the times I don't know how to start, like what quote to do. We always search for quotes and some interesting words. And yeah, so I was like, should I do like true blend, pure blend? Because I like the letter R, and I will go with pure this time. So what I'm going to do, I will make this as a template to make it like, to lower the opacity down. So, I mean, we can do it with appearance tab and change the opacity, but I prefer to do it like this. It's kind of quicker.
Just doing it through the layer options, right?
Yeah, it's easier, but I just go with this to be quicker. So yeah, let's start creating. So what I'm going to do is to actually vectorize this sketch with a pen tool, using following the lines, and create a shape which will be in vector, and then I can transfer it to Photoshop, and then I can work with that there. So
do you have an artboard size that you like to start with Illustrator?
Yeah,
Illustrator is interesting because it's vector, so it doesn't matter
exactly.
as much.
So,
but
yes, at this point, I think it should be like 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. But yeah, as you said, it doesn't really matter on Illustrator because I'm going to change the size later in Photoshop. But yeah, this one is 1,000 by 1,000.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, with the pen tool, new layer. Okay, we're good. So I will start vectorizing that and making following the shape. Usually, I mean, the correct way is to do like, with the anchor points, to have them either vertical or horizontal. It's easier, it's more tidy, but for me, it's quicker to do that. And as long as I would like to make this a bit quicker, I will like just follow the line.
Yeah, I was going to say, the pen tool's kind of one of those things where it's like the more you get used to using it, you can cheat a little bit because you see those curves a little bit better.
Exactly.
But I know what you're saying, to get perfect curves, technically, you're right. You would have to be doing the 90-degree.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends on, how much time you have, or how much time you'd like to spend on details.
Right.
So yeah. So I did this first part. I can, change the shape. So it will be like this. In the end, I'm going to fix the shape a bit more to, make the lines a bit, the curves a bit better. But yeah. And through this process, you can also do like, add some more details. So for example, what I like to do sometimes on this kind of lettering is to bring some lines, like imagine when you are painting with a marker, that there are some texture, like some gaps, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to create this here. I'm not going to do this today because I think there will be too much details in the end, so I don't want to overdo it. But yeah, let's go with the other letter.
So you kind of end up, sometimes you end up creating kind of the brush texture with it.
Yeah, something like that. And especially if this can be done in Illustrator, which will be vector, because that's the textures that it can work in Illustrator. So yeah, let's change this to, yeah, we can see what is happening. And so here I have made I have created one shape for the first part of view, because I think it looks more like, here we have a connection.
Sometimes it's easier because then you can just combine those shapes.
Exactly.
If you wanted, yeah.
And whoops. So yeah, like that. Yeah, it doesn't matter for now because maybe the lines don't look very, let's see. Yeah, maybe we can make it a bit, better, but we can start with that, and later we can see the shape how it will be.
You're making the pen tool look easy. Look at this, folks.
Yeah,
Illustrator's so simple. Look at this.
Well, once you get used to the pen tool, it's kind of very useful, and
yeah,
you can create I remember when I started like a long time ago, I was like, okay, the pen tool is not my favorite tool because I spend a lot of time following the lines, but if any new designer is watching, it gets better totally.
Right.
The more you practice, the more it gets better. So yeah.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a learning curve in the beginning, but it really there's no other tool like it, really.
Now it's actually one of my favorites. I mean, also in Photoshop, I use it a lot to make selections, in order where to paint, and but yeah, I think it's very useful. And
quick question for you from the chat: did you hand draw this with pencil and then scan it in or take a photo, or is this all tablet?
Good question. Yeah, because sometimes I just do things and I don't explain or I don't think about it. But yeah, this was created by Sketch on Sketch with a pen with a pencil, and then I took a photo of it, and I include it's actually a JPEG if you look here. So it's just a photo with a phone. So not very
you just want to get it in there. Doesn't need to
exactly. So yeah, first I started with these lines, like a sketch of let's say the wireframe. How to follow some lines to be more straight, let's say.
Right. Kind of like guidelines or grid.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the word. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So yeah, let's make this also. So for example, here it doesn't look good, but we're going to fix that. Also, sometimes I put some notes here, like when I will vectorize it to make, for example, here I say higher. I can put this a bit higher. So let's create this as it is, and then I will maybe rotate it or something like that. Oh, you can see what I'm doing.
I was impressed with the collaborations that you had on your website. Is that something that you do often, or is it mostly, was that kind of a new thing, or is that something that you've kind of done before with doing the letter collaboration?
The collaborations, some of them were from previous years because I was more active on Instagram. Now I'm still do, but because I like spending most of the time on YouTube. So yeah, there's also some collaborations on YouTube, by the way. And so yeah, I don't think they're pretty often, but whenever I have like someone I really like, or someone who is sending me, and I was like, yeah, of course we can do that. I'm totally open to collaborations.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, the best is to combine both styles together and work together and then have like, you know, a different result than the usual.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't think I see it as often, especially with like typography with collaboration. You know, obviously it's, but so that was really, they work amazing together. those collaborations
exactly.
were really cool.
And this way you can get ideas, like, you know, to create 2 different styles or try different things. And yeah, and especially on Instagram, the community of lettering is very like huge. And all styles of lettering, like you can do, you can find many people who are doing hand drawn, and this is amazing. I mean, I'm not really good on like with traditional tools. I'm trying to improve myself, but you know, they're super good. On digital, you have more control of what you're doing. So let's hide that for now. And yeah, so I would like to make the shape a bit look, you know, more natural. And so imagine when you have a brush pen that you're doing, usually when you go down, the line is thicker. When you go up, the line is like more thin. And that's what I'm trying to do here to, you know, it's fake because it's digital. But I'm trying to,
but yeah, instead of like a round marker, it's a flat
exactly.
Tip marker,
And when you do it, you can do that. For example, if I had done this with a brush pen on paper, I could see exactly where the lines are. And now with a pencil, I do a lot of with so I was removing some part. I was adding some new, but yeah. I don't know. Where do you think? Maybe here on the curve is not very good.
Now, do you mostly create with Illustrator, Photoshop? Do you work on any other?
Well, it like depends, but
like on iPad or anything, or is it mostly desktop?
So I use a lot of software. I'm trying to try everything and then stick with what fits with me more, like what is better for my workflow. So I do a lot of lettering in iPad because, you know, with a pencil it's very easy to do it. Also with a pen tablet, you know, on a PC is also not the same, but it could be similar sometimes. But for example, the technique I'm going to do later, it's also similar in Adobe Fresco. And so the one with a mixer, with the mixer brush tool, while you're mixing the brush on Adobe Fresco. But we're going to see that.
Yeah, Fresco's been getting a lot of love. Especially I know lettering. The last stream I hosted was also, a lot of it was done on Fresco. So
it has a lot of brush options. Like, you know, the settings are a lot, and
seems like it's just easy to use. Kind of just jump into it.
Yeah, you just need to get used to it, and that's it. And okay, so maybe here it's not ready. Yeah, maybe we can go with that. Do you see any? Maybe here the line is not very good. It's very thick. No, I think it works. What do you think? Like maybe any line to be, any curve that you don't see very good? Maybe
I know, it's hard to, I mean, it looks great to me.
Sometimes, you know, I'm very picky with.
Like maybe that bottom swoosh, so, you know, a little bit of that bottom curve, could use a little bit. There you go. That tweak,
Maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting trying to replicate that marker by hand instead of just using, you know, kind of turning it in your head.
Exactly. And usually you just get used to the lines on paper, and then you can imagine how it will be when you do it digitally. I think we're good with that. We can go with that. So yeah, I'm going to make this white because I'm planning to work on a black background on Photoshop.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, white, and I will copy it. So Command C, yeah, and let's go into Photoshop now. Here. So I have opened a new document here. So the size of it is yeah, it's 5,000 by 6,000 pixel, because I like, working the big canvas, and then if I can reduce it later, because the opposite is impossible. So as long as we're working with pixels, yeah.
Right. And do you usually keep the resolution at 72?
It depends. I mean, if I can spend more time on, it depends on the computer, because if the computer is like have a good, it's can handle more, bigger files. Mm-hmm. I can go with 150, but with 72, if we have like big resolution on the big dimensions, I think it's fine.
It's okay, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's better to go with 150. But
Mm-hmm.
Whoops. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to paste the text. No, first I'm going to make the background black. If anyone on the chat has any questions about how I'm doing things, if I don't explain them all, just yeah, they can ask.
Definitely. I'll let you know.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to paste the word pure. I'm going to make it to leave it as a smart object, because maybe later we will need to make it larger, and I don't want to lose any quality. So let's keep that like this for now. And okay, now we can create the word blend. For the word blend, I'm going to use two different photos so I can take the colors from them. So I'm going to use the mixer brush tool for that. So what the mixer brush tool does, for people who are not really familiar with that, it's you can load the brush with a color, and then you can paint on the canvas and mix it with a background color. You can change the settings and have like multiple results with that. So I will explain more. I mean, it will make more sense once I will do that.
It's almost like having a loaded brush or something, like if you're traditional, where you kind of put in your line of paint of what you want, and then when you go to push it, it drags all those colors.
Exactly. Yeah. The blend is like sometimes is when you select the collect colors, the blend is so amazing, and it's very similar. So people who are more familiar with Fresco, Adobe Fresco, it's kind of, you can choose a photo or something, even in emoji, and make like a brush based on that. It's kind of similar. Yeah. I don't remember. It was an artist on Instagram who was doing that a lot. I don't remember his name, but it was very good. Anyway, so yeah, let's insert the two photos. So I have one here. I'm going to make it bigger. This will be, I will paint on this photo, but I will load my brush with some purple.
Are these images just grabbed from the internet? Is this a collection that you have?
I do have a collection, but yeah, I have grabbed them for internet. They're not mine. I mean, you can find an Adobe stock or any other website that has a lot of images. I got them from, I think it was Adobe Fresco, but it was Pexel or something like that.
Gotcha.
Okay, so yeah, what I'm going to do is, let's hide the blend for now, this layer. And so I'm going to take the mixer brush tool, which is here behind the brush. And I would like to create a new layer maybe. And yeah, so if you see here, you can see white. This is what the mixer brush tool has. So I'm going to load my brush with maybe something like this bubble. So the way I'm doing is like clicking the Option or Alt key. So because people don't really know this tool, and maybe they will ask on the chat, so I'm trying to be quick and reply. So yeah, I loaded the brush. You can see it here. Okay. And then we have many settings on the top. So based on that, we can change like how much will be the amount of the background it will mix, or how it will be like where it says wet, like it could be like a watercolor, but yeah, you can play with this and it will have totally different results. So yeah, I have created a new layer, and I would like to create the word blend, but I'm going to do one layer for each shape. So maybe in some letters will be one layer for each letter, but in this case, for the letter B, I will create two shapes, one for the vertical line and one for the other part.
Okay.
So I have loaded my brush, and then I'm going to the other image, which is where I would like to take the background color. So I click and I brush. So if you see that, you can see really the blend, but if I hide this, you can see the blue color. That's what I like actually, and I would like to create based on different photos. So let's undo that, because I can do a better line, I guess. Also, something very important is on the brush settings, the spacing usually by default is kind of like this, but that doesn't have a very good result. You can see how it is here.
Right.
However, it's very fast this way, but we don't really want this result. So yeah, let's do the letter B. I'm going to click and hold. Yeah, I don't like that photo. So yeah, most of the times I do these moves a lot, many times to have something that I like. Maybe one more time.
And so when you're doing this, you're grabbing, you have your image loaded, and then as you make this mark, it's mixing it with the background. It's grabbing from the background currently.
Yes, it's kind of mixing. I have the loaded brush, but also it's mixing with the background, and how much it will mix is kind of now I have 40%. But if you change it, let's change actually. We can see how it will be. For example, now it doesn't mix anything.
Gotcha. It's just all back.
If you see that, it's like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it works. And also important the sample of layers should be visible. So this should be ticked. So you can, if I don't have it ticked, it will not take the background color.
Right. It's not going to pick it up because it's only going to be a specific layer. Gotcha.
Okay, so I have the first part of B. I'm going to name it. I will try to be as tidy as possible with the groups and layers, because later will be a big mess. You will see it.
I'm excited to see super organized work. It's not. I feel like sometimes they're like, I just gotta go. It's gonna be crazy.
Exactly. At first, it will be organized. In the end, they will not be. I mean, they never do. So yeah, I will create a new layer now. Yeah, sorry.
Cool. Oh no, just Bruce Gonzalez from the chat. He was just kind of wondering how you found the style, or kind of what got you here to using this really cool mixer tool.
Yeah. So I had seen many similar techniques and designs on Instagram, and through some other artists I really like, and some others, for example, David Milan. Maybe people who know will know David Milan. Maybe, I don't know how to pronounce it, but he was using a similar style, and I was really impressed by that style. I didn't know how to do it, so I saw a lot of YouTube videos. I found, how I can do that, and then I found out about Mixer Brush tool. There is another way you can do that. If you take the smudge tool, or this finger anyway. The finger, yeah. Sometimes I don't really know the names of the tools, but just use them. Yeah. So I think that's similar, but I just tried it. But because it's a bit heavy, maybe it will not do the job. But yeah, I think Mixer Brush tool is better for that in terms of how the computer is handling. Now it will unfreeze, but just because of the. Yeah, so I'm going to do with the Mixer Brush tool again. I think it's more easy. Okay, so for the letter B, the next part will be like this. I still have the old settings here, right. 40, yeah. So That looks okay. Maybe I can try once more. Let's keep that, just in case, because sometimes I do it like 50 times and I don't like any of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of has to be not necessarily perfect, but it's got to have that rhythm, that flow. Especially because these words are so bold, and it has that 3D look.
I think I like that better. So let's delete that. No, it's actually like that one. Sorry, because I think I don't like here in the corner in the curve. It looks not very
right.
The flow is not very smooth. Okay, let's rename that again. B2. Okay, we have the first letter, and I'm going to put this on the side, and then a new layer, letter L. Oh, I'm very tidy with the layers, but later they will not be like that. So letter L, maybe like this. Nah. We can go with that, I think. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, you see here, I really like this part here, how it is, the blend. Looks like crystal, or I don't know how to, like glass or something.
I was gonna say it's kind of like the translucent material. It almost has that light reflecting on the inside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's very cool. And that's because you're mixing it with that blue background. It's kind of giving it
so if I mix it with this blue background, it will be, let's try that now. I don't know if it will be, it will look good with the rest of the light blue, but we can try that. Mix brushed it again, and I'm going to do a lowercase e in this case. Why not? I mean, it's our design, we can do whatever we want. So
yeah, definitely.
Okay, this doesn't look very good, but we can check the blue color. How is it? Yeah, it's not very bad here, the blue colors.
I was gonna say it works. It still works. Yeah.
Okay, let's create a better E, but so this process is kind of difficult to do it with a mouse, but
is that what you're working with right now?
I'm working with a pen tablet, but also it is easier to do it with a touchpad. Sometimes it's even easier than the pen tablet, but I think I like this E. We can go with that for now, or maybe I will try another one just to have a second option. And this time I will make it with the touchpad to see if it will be any,
This is definitely mesmerizing. I could watch this all day.
Like, these videos that you see, which are kind of satisfying.
Yeah, this is the oddly satisfying. This is definitely what this is. I think I'm just gonna go try this just to watch my computer.
Yeah. No, yeah, I really like it too.
You can do it. So now is this moving at this speed because of your processing power of your computer? Would it be faster on a faster computer?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the better the computer, it will be, the easier it will be for the to handle this kind of mixer brush tool process.
Right.
But because it takes a lot, that's why, because you asked me earlier about the resolution, that's why I use 72 and not 150. It will take ages to do it. So
yeah, it makes sense. That makes sense now.
Okay, let's do one last one just to. And I'm still holding the mouse down now because sometimes it stops earlier if I release the mouse. So, okay, which one you prefer?
think maybe
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 that
that
one.
first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I like the
Okay.
thickness of that, the space
Yeah.
better.
So yeah, I mean, it is, if you have enough time, you can do like as many letters as you like, but it would be better to see the effects later.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it really creates this 3D tube just with that loaded paint. Like it's not a 3D object. I mean, this is
exactly that's why I call it the 3D, like fake 3D, because it's not actually 3D, and I don't use any actual 3D tools, but I think,
which is kind of funny because it's like so many people are doing that now, and 3D is becoming such a huge tool for so many different artists that I don't think used it before. I mean, when I saw your work, I was just like, oh, he's doing 3D like it's all 3D. So, and now I'm seeing him like, and it's funny because I would see some of it and I was like, oh, those look like, I was like, oh, maybe he's doing Photoshop painting on top of 3D designs.
Sometimes I do.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, sometimes I start with a 3D software and then I get the file into Photoshop and I start using like some highlights or strokes and things like that. And
yeah, which is really cool because I like when you kind of enter into that area with work where it's like you don't really know exactly what's being used, and which is, I think, makes it unique to the artist, because it's easy to just, it's not easy, but to just use 3D or just, but to kind of have this layered process, I think always kind of adds a little bit of depth that for the viewer, especially for other artists, you like to dive into and be like, oh, how did they do that?
Yeah,
like, what,
exactly. Yeah, and I was in this stage exactly when I was seeing these designs on social media, and I was like, how did they do that? I mean, I can find a way how to create that.
Yeah,
and when you discover that, you're like, yeah, I did it. Oh,
I feel like I need to use this in an illustration.
Yeah. And also, by the way, on Illustrator, you can do something similar with a blend tool, which is kind of, creating a path and then having, creating a brush, not a brush, a circle with different colors, and then adjust it on a path.
Very
but
cool.
Yeah, that's for another day. Let's keep that in mind.
Hi, Claudia. I hope I'm saying your name right. Hey, Wade, everybody, Bruce. Yeah,
hello, Bruce.
Let's see, the new 3D preview. That's very nice. Yeah, Robin's asking if there's recommended processors for doing this work. Really fast ones.
Yeah.
New and fast.
The faster the best, the better. Yeah, I would say, I don't know. But with a computer with low specs, I don't think it will be very easy to do that. But you can try. I mean, it depends on the size of the artboard, I guess, and the resolution, maybe.
Right. Hi, Sam. Nice to see you on here.
Okay. Letter N.
Yeah, my wife got one of the new MacBook Pros with the M1 chip.
Yeah, they will work perfectly.
That was, my computer is probably about 7 years old, and I'm just sitting there like, takes like 15 minutes to get Photoshop open. Hers is everything just like bloop bloop bloop, instant.
Yeah, mine is kind of that old too. Maybe I think I had it for 2018 or something. So yeah, maybe it will be similar, but I think no, I don't like that. So I think the processor is 2 point something. Doesn't make sense because I'm not very good on.
Is it a Intel?
Yeah, it is an Intel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have this as the last option.
I mean, there's so many things that impact the speed of your computer, but
exactly. Also the RAM,
your GPU, your RAM, your GPU are going to make a big difference.
Oh, I like that one. And letter D. So for letter D, I'm going to do the same as I did for letter B. So two shapes for that. D1.
It's so cool when you throw it on the black.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, everything changes.
And I have tried it also, with white background, but I think it's better on black background. I like how the color works.
I love white lettering on black. It's something about that is really cool. It works so much better than black and white for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I don't know, because white is usually more dominating. Yeah, I really dig it.
Wow. Maybe that is good. Yeah, I think it's good. And maybe small. So yeah, now we can change the size and make it like if one letter is bigger than the other, we can make it work. But it would be better to not like make big adjustments on the size, because then it will be the width. It will be like a big difference on that. If I do, for example, on that one, if I make it very large, it is much thicker than the other letters. So
right, you got to be kind of careful.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
and you're not. Are you holding anything else? Any keys while doing this? Or is this all freehand?
When I'm doing the mixer brush tool.
When you're actually just drawing the letters, it's all freehand, right? There's no like.
Okay. It's freehand. Yeah, it's freehand.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe letter B is kind of large. Yeah, but we can go with that. Okay, now let's see how it will fit with the letter pure.
So cool.
I think it would be better if we didn't have the underline. So maybe I will go back to Illustrator and take it without the line.
Right, which is so nice that you can just, how quick you can
do that. Because what I would like to do now is to mix the letter pure and the letter blend. So I will hide some parts of the words of the letters to make it look some letters are in front of each other, and I will create some depth with that.
Right.
So yeah, I will paste that. Yeah. Okay, let's hide the previous one. Let's change that name.
So if you guys are just joining us, we are here with Angelo. Gosh, say your last name one more time. I forgot. I got it. Hold on. Konofaos. Thank you.
Yeah.
Angelo Konofoas. He is a typography designer, graphic artist. And we're checking out this really, really cool style using flat lettering with vector lines and then using the mixer brush in Photoshop to get these really, really cool 3D letters. It's coming out great. I'm already excited. We're not even that far in. And also, if you guys are watching on YouTube, that's awesome. Thank you. Come on over to b.net/Adobe Live. You guys can hang out with us here in Behance in the Adobe chat. We got Wade helping us out here. So come on over if you guys get a chance. Behance.net/Adobe Live.
Okay. So now I'm going to add some masks on the letters, and because I would like to bring that part of R in front of letter N, but behind the letter in front of letter E, but behind the letter N.
Right.
So I'm going to letter. What is that? Letter E. Yeah. I will add a mask, and then I'm going to choose. Yeah, the word pure. So yeah, I'm taking the normal brush and I'm going to make it look, I will paint here and this way. So yeah, I think it works. So
Yeah.
you can see, yeah, it's kind of between the letter E and letter N.
Mm-hmm. And you'd have to do this with a mask because otherwise it would push it behind the U as well. If you were just to take the layer.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, for example, now I will do the same with the P, I think. It would be nice to have it here in front. So we're going to letter L, and we add a mask, and then select the word. Okay.
Patrick asks, did you use this technique to make the 3D lettering Greek alphabet in your portfolio?
No, it's actually 3D software on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one. Okay, so now I would like to add some shadows, and I'm going to do this manually, like illustrating the shadows. I don't want to add any effects like with blending options.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with, so we have the word pure, and here we can see that the letter P is in front of letter L. So there should be some shadow behind it, right? Ideally. Right. So we're going to letter L. I will create a clipping mask. Right click and clipping mask. Yeah, I will name it also because later it will be handy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will take a small, smooth brush, but with black. Let's see how it is. Yeah. Okay. So, and I'm going to paint here like it is behind. Maybe here it would have a bit more shadow from the top of.
Right, because it's wrapping back.
Yeah. So maybe like that and like that. Yeah.
Man, it does so much too right away.
And yeah.
And is this just a soft brush, or is it?
Yeah, that's actually a soft brush, and I have it 100% opacity, but because I'm using the pen tablet, it goes with the pressure sensitivity.
Right, you got the pressure sensitivity clicked on. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you're using a mouse, you can just add this to 50% or something, and then you can do the same, like painting more times. Okay, now we can go letter E. We're on a new clipping mask. I'm going to do this with the keyboard now. Shadows. So yeah, that's why I created each letter in a different layer, because now I would be like how I could create the mask and the shadows only on letter E, and that, yeah, if that makes sense. But
yeah, no, it does. It would be a lot more difficult for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And now we need some shadows for the letter pure, for the word pure, because behind the N should be some shadows. Okay, so I'm going to pure the clipping mask. Let's name that too. And same here. Yeah. And maybe could be some shadow here. No, I think it's too far away. So yeah, don't add that. Okay, I think we're good for this kind of shadows here. Let's add some shadows behind this part of the letter. And so B1, create a new clipping mask. You know what I can do? Maybe I will hide this part of letter B behind the vertical line, again with a mask. And so B, I will create a mask, and then I will select that part.
Interesting.
Yeah, or maybe if I could hide this, I don't like how it is here now. Maybe. Obviously, I'm using a lot of the Command Z or Control Z, the undo.
Right.
shortcut.
Yes, very important.
Maybe the most important shortcut.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think that one's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to add
Yeah, because
some
I
more
like that.
shadow.
I like that whoosh with the shape of that bee. Like, I'm glad.
Yeah,
you
I
kept
also
that.
like the color. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And like you said, it's adding to that almost like crystal glass that you have with all the
Yeah.
letters.
So yeah, basically when you're choosing the background colors and the background images and the image to load your brush, you just need to have like a colorful image and maybe to be careful on the color theory to not have too many and to match with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I chose purple and blue. I think they match great together. But later, probably tomorrow, we will do also we'll add some adjustment layers to see different colors. So yeah, if anyone from the chat has a preference on what kind of color combination to use, you can let us know and we can follow that.
Yeah, no, very cool. I mean, the beauty of the adjustment layers.
Yeah.
So you can kind of really mess around with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is like almost like a analogous kind of color scheme.
Yeah, exactly. So then we need to add the shadow here, but this is on letter B. So I'm going to create a clipping mask for that part of letter B, sorry. So I'm doing the shadows based on the lighting that I have in my mind. For example, I'm thinking the lighting will be like here.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the mouse here. So I'm creating the shadows like that. So that's why I have more shadows.
Top left.
Yeah, imagine that here's the light.
Right.
Letter B. I can create a new one here.
Robin was saying that it's interesting. The shadows look so pale because the opacity and flow are 100%. But because Angelo is using a pen tablet, he's able to use the pressure to affect the opacity. So it's actually how I paint as well a lot.
But I can
nice
do
tab.
Yeah, I can try one with the mouse pad to show
just to see what it kind of looks like.
Yeah. So okay, now I'm using the touchpad, and I'm going to make that maybe 40%. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
41. And then, for example, here we need a shadow. So I click and paint. Click and paint again. If we want it even more, I can do it one more time. I think that's good enough. Maybe we can increase the size of the brush and then, yeah. So yeah, that was made with actually the touchpad or a mouse even. Yeah, would be the same.
Yeah, very similar effects. Obviously, I think with pen tablet, you usually have more control.
Yeah.
Sensitivity.
Yeah, I prefer to use it also, because you have better flow on the lines, but also the pressure sensitivity on the opacity, as well as the thickness and how thick will be the line, the stroke.
Right.
Okay, so now I will go to letter E, and we have the shadow layer already. So now I will turn the opacity back to 100% because use the pen again.
Right.
Okay, we have it like this, but it would be nice to have some shadow here behind this line. But this is the same layer, right? So what I'm going to do is, this is where I will use the pen tool again, and it is very useful. So I'm taking the pen tool, and I will create a path here to have, to paint in the very specific area.
Right. Right, because you really want to make sure that that's tight, because if there's any overlap or anything, it could really mess with that 3D effect.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, exactly. So I'm zooming in a lot just to make sure. Okay, the line is not very perfectly curved, but that's fine. Maybe we can, yeah. I think here it needs some.
So you're just adding some anchor points there.
Yeah, just to have better control of the path. I think here will be okay. Maybe. Yeah, I think it's good enough. Yeah, we'll be fine. So I'm selecting this area, right click, make selection, yeah. So now I will paint only on this area. I will take again the brush tool and do that. Maybe a bit more.
Yeah, that's a great way to make a selection for something like that.
Yeah, and so yeah, the pen tool is very, very useful both on Illustrator and Photoshop. Because I will use it also for highlights later for many techniques, like, you know, adding strokes and different kind of decorations. And let's go and make another clipping mask. And again, I will take the pen tool because I would like to add some shadows here and here.
Right.
So, and yeah, let's see. Okay, so here I can go straight out of the letter, but I mean, we can do the, we are doing the design, we can do whatever we want. So I will make like an effect here to have some depth. Like,
right, because you think there'd be the rim of the letters kind of, it's not gonna, doesn't necessarily have an overhang. It's still like a smooth transition.
Okay, and now I'm free to paint. And I will try, yeah, let's see how it will be like this. So we can, maybe we can add more texture on the letter. And yeah, so what I'm thinking to do, yeah, okay, let's do it now. So I'm thinking to add some highlights too, which will be on the other side of the selection. I was planning to do this after I finish all the shadows, but now it's a good time to do it. So I will make a new adjustment layer, a new clipping mask above that. Whoops, no. And this will be the highlights.
And now you creating this is going to kind of help you turn that form where there's that kind of hard shadow right there.
No,
is
actually,
that what you're thinking, or?
No, the reason I'm doing this is because I would like to add some white color now in the opposite side, so like a sign.
Right.
So
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So if I select, if I select the inverse, then I'm coloring the rest of the space except that. So I'm taking again the brush tool, but this time I will take the white color, and let's see how. Maybe this will not work. It will not look very good, but I mean, we can try and see. I don't really like the line here, to be honest. So yeah, let's go and remove some part of the shadow. You see, it's not very straight line. It's not.
Right.
Okay, and then from the highlights.
Bruce is wondering if you've ever thought about entering the NFT world.
That's a very good question. And
yeah,
so I'm trying to follow what is happening with NFTs, and if I would like to I mean, I would like to, but I haven't like think very much about, creating something specific for NFTs.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
I mean, I
its
don't want
own
to. I
beast.
would like to be a new one, something new, a new design, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's very interesting about the whole thing with the NFTs now that you can have an original piece of a design, and it's actually a big thing now.
Yeah, well, and I think because a lot of us work now in the digital world.
Yeah, and yeah, and I was thinking that because I was seeing a lot of people on Behance having the NFTs, and
Right.
yeah, it's very interesting because there are some parts that, yeah, you need to explore first and then have a clear idea what they are, and then you can, yeah, you can go into that field. So I haven't yet with NFTs. I haven't searched a lot about it, so I should.
Yeah, well, I think probably because your work stands out so much, and it's kind of I could see how Bruce thinks it could fit well in that world. Have you
So
done animation with this stuff at all, or with your lettering, or have you any kind of like motion graphics with it?
yes, I have done some. Actually, I was thinking to show some. Uh, for example, I have an animation. Oh, I can just go quickly on that. So yeah, I don't have. So for example, this
Oh,
one.
very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done some. I don't have many on my portfolio, but yeah, it's kind of.
That's
It depends
pretty cool.
if that's a need for the work, or yeah. But
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
okay, so yeah, After Effects is kind of one of my favorite software, but I would like to spend more time on it and explore all of the effects and things like
Yeah, it's a deep program. It's pretty
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like it is Photoshop, because Photoshop has so many settings, so many options that you can do things, and lots of people do the same thing with a different way. So
Hmm.
I think that's how it works with After Effects too. Also, it is based on layers, kind of layers.
Right,
Uh,
right.
so yeah. So here we can have some shadows as well. And if yeah, okay, letter D. And actually, we don't really need a shadow for this part of letter D at the moment, maybe later.
Hmm.
Okay, so now let's do the highlights how I did here, but I would like to add more. Maybe first I would add a shadow here as well with a pen tool. So let it
Gotcha.
be here. And yeah, I can do that like that maybe. I mean, this is not very realistic to have it like this, but if it was a texture there, like so the light can go on the top side, but it will be shadow underneath. So we
Hmm.
could have shadow here and light here. Let's try that and see how it works. I mean, it's always like that. First you try, and then if you like it.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, this isn't 3D, so you can also kind of
Yeah,
take some of those chances a little bit to kind of make it unique.
yeah, exactly, and that's better. I mean, if maybe it doesn't look very realistic, but in the other hand, you can have this option with 3D software, but you can have it with Photoshop.
Hmm.
So yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
And then I'm going to change the selection to the other part, and then I will add a new clipping mask. Oh. And yeah, white color.
With your highlights and shadows, are you usually just using black and white, or do you ever switch that up, or is that kind of?
I usually use black and white because if I would like it to be a different, for example, here, different shade of the purple, I will just reduce the opacity of white. So it will be like
And
a
let it
lighter.
shine through, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Except if I have in mind that the light is kind of different color, maybe it would have a, sorry, a red light. So in this case, we could put a red color. And that's actually maybe I haven't done yet, and that would be interesting.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of this kind of reminds me of that like old school airbrushing style.
Yeah.
You know, like there's something really.
Is it similar with the illustrations? Because I know like you do a lot of illustrations. They're very cool, and like the lighting, how you do that.
With how I do the lighting, I mean, yeah, it can be similar. I've done it several different ways. I've done it with using like a multiply layer and adjusting opacity. I've noticed that kind of sometimes I'll be really painterly about it and kind of just really use the color I want for the shadow, and just that's you know, it is what it is. But a lot of the times usually use either a black or a really dark dark blue or something, and then what you can do is you can kind of lock those pixels and then come back usually with like a soft brush or something and adjust those colors or even gradients, and you can kind of adjust those black shadows. So it kind of gives you more options, like you said. Like if you have it just black or white, it's kind of this neutral color, and so you can kind of add your own color to it.
And also the multiply is very good option. I haven't thought about that, but
yeah, it's really similar with some things. Like sometimes you can't even really tell the difference between whether it's just your opacity or if it's a multiply layer. But I know in some ways it can really kind of absorb that color underneath, which is really nice.
Cool. So now I would like to add more, like, you know, some white to make it more of a highlighting the light here, so it will be more bright on this side. So when I will add some adjustment layers for the contrast, or maybe I could have the levels. I can adjust the levels, or you know, it will be more obvious the lights here because the colors will become darker and the contrast will be higher. So but yeah, if here we had some more texture on the color, it could have if I had used the multiply mode, I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, just try it out.
I can try. Let's add some some highlights, and
then Bruce had a question for you. He was just kind of wondering when you started getting into typography. Is it something you've always loved, or is it something moved you in that direction at a certain point in your life?
Yeah, thanks, Bruce, for the question. Actually, I know after many years that I was doing graphic design, then I went into typography and mostly in lettering, like around, I don't know, 2015 or so, when I discovered like the whole lettering community and some artists that were very like inspiring for me. Yeah, that I think that's how it started. And then I was trying to, you know, I remember I was ordering brass pens for Japan or somewhere, you know, somewhere that we can find specific brushes for some things. And it was, I was trying to get all the correct tools. Then I found out that it's practice that makes perfect, not the tools. But if you have the tools and you practice a lot, then that's the combination.
Yeah, you can't. That's exactly it. It's like a quill pen, you know, for inking comics, it's like
Yeah.
you can get stuff similar to that, you know, and it's like people can do amazing stuff without that, but you really only kind of get some of those textures and lines with a quill pen, you know. But that learning curve on that is going to be a lot higher, and you probably want to start with something else first and then work your way to that. But I know it's similar with a lot of tools, especially digital tools. People are just like, oh, this brush is so cool, it's going to make my artwork great, and I'm going to make cool stuff now because I've got this great brush.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it's not working like that.
yeah, it takes a lot of practice
Yeah.
with all the boring stuff first to
Yeah,
be able
I
to
remember
utilize those cool brushes.
yeah, when I first started, I wanted to take like a huge pen tablet, a screen, you know, a screen that you can draw on it, which was kind of very expensive. But I was thinking, yeah, with that tool, I could do many things. I can explore different styles. And then I found out that no, it's not how it works. But I mean, you can do, if you know if you know how to do them, these tools can improve your skills, I mean, to another level. But that's not the way to do it. I mean, yeah.
It's not the answer, but
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's once you understand the tools and how you can use them best, I think that's when your work really shines.
Yeah, that's when you need to take the other tools, the equipment.
Yeah, I mean, I worked with a hard round brush for years, and that was it. I mean, and I would create my textures with that, kind of like how you would with, you know, painting with a brush or anything else. But then, you know, I started seeing so much work where I was like, oh my God, these digital textures these people are creating, and like some of these brushes, and really started to learn like I can apply those things. And now I have these brushes that I can use to kind of take those digital illustrations to the next level, finding ways to kind of make it more unique using those textures from the brushes. But it took a while to like kind of figure out what works with my work, because it really can get overwhelming because there's millions of brushes out there. So
yeah,
like,
exactly. But yeah, I was looking earlier so on one of your textures. They were really, yeah, I had questions how we can produce these textures, like, you know, on the like some dotted textures, some especially on the characters. They were super cool.
Email me.
Yeah.
Let me know. I'll let you know.
No, actually, I need to see your videos also with Adobe Live. I have seen some, but I believe I can find answers there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of the times I just, you know, learn it from somewhere else and then just apply it to my work, you know. But
yeah, that's how it works. I mean, yeah, I do the same.
Yeah, there's so many options now. I feel like obviously here on Adobe Live is pretty incredible, and it's free.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think Adobe does a great job of bringing on so many different talented artists that people really get an incredible feel for what's, you know, possible with this software, which kind of feels limitless at this point.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true
there's
because yeah, sorry.
ahead.
No, I remember like I think it was last year or 2 years ago that I was watching Adobe Live, and it was with a great designer from Netherlands. His name is difficult Rick Oostenbroek, something like that.
Okay.
And this is where I discovered a technique about having some highlights, which I will use later. And so he was using the gradient tool, and then like a circular one, and then he was editing the shape later, which was like that is had very cool results. And I was like, yeah, that's a good way to do that, which I I never thought about.
Yeah, using it in that way, or yeah, I think that's, I remember because I was in illustration at the Academy of Art in San Francisco. And I remember there would always kind of be those discussions of you know, at what point does it feel like plagiarism or kind of taking other people's techniques, or what, you know, how do you make it your own, like what's your style and all, because there's so many different references and influences. And I think we always kind of came back to you just kind of piece together all these things from all these different people, and then, you know, you're putting together a look or a product that feels like you in the end. It's like you don't want to just copy somebody else, right? You don't want to like, but you're trying to figure out like, how am I going to make that better? Or how am I going to make that more for me and what I do?
Exactly. Yeah. And then you can like extend this style to make it your style. I mean, add many things, like different things or extra techniques, like combine
right.
them.
So
with
those
that.
different combinations of techniques that, you know, kind of really can make your style. Exactly.
I mean, obviously, all of us have been inspired by others, and but that's what you said. It's actually that's the meaning, to make it more, not copy someone, but make it to the next level for your style. And obviously, I'm very glad for all the people who are inspiring us. As I said before, I mean, on lettering, I have some very good, artists that I really like their style. And in the beginning, it was very, very helpful for me to, even for, how to draw some letters, ideas of how to do letter E, for example, that we're doing now, ideas how to create it, and what different style. I mean, we can search on fonts, but it is different if you see it like hand drawn and handwritten,
right,
whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a few artists, like I was telling you earlier, that I worked at a street art gallery in San Francisco. And there's one guy, I think he's from the Netherlands, Neil Schulman, or Shu, but he's like an old school graffiti artist, and some of your work reminds me of some of the stuff he does. He runs a gallery called Unruly Gallery. Just like that. Like he is like very much a really into the hand style, the typography, and like he would create this really cool alphabet almost using just like one stroke. This kind of like really
that reminds me something.
Cool.
Maybe I don't remember the name, but that reminds me something. Yeah, maybe I've seen that.
Yeah, he's done some cool stuff. He would do these really cool things. I think he did something with Floyd Mayweather. He did this thing in a boxing ring and he would do these big lettering pieces with a wet broom. And so he'd also do it with ink as well. But sometimes he would just do it on concrete, and it'd just do it all with water, and so it just evaporates as he's doing it. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
But I'll have to send it to you. I have to find it and send it to you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe I have seen his work, but I don't know the name. I think that's the best thing for an artist. I mean, his work to be recognized, but it doesn't matter about the name. It's the work. That's how it works with me. I mean, like that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the internet too. You see so much, and you're like, oh my gosh,
yeah, you can remember.
But it's also being reposted, repackaged. Like sometimes you're like, who actually made this?
But that thing that you said with so it was kind of a big scale lettering in this case.
Like the one he did with it's like he was in a boxing ring, and it was kind of like an aerial shot, and he's doing it with like this big broom with ink. I mean, really cool.
It sounds very interesting. And I remember, so there's some other artists that do that as well. And because you said from Netherlands, it's not the same. I know a Russian one, Pokras Lampas. I don't know if you have seen his work. He's huge, and his art, he has done like some very huge buildings, and his style is kind of more of it's kind of the old school calligraphy, not so much into lettering. He called it future. I don't remember how the name is of this style, which he created, like, I think so. But it's very good too. But it reminds me of what you said about this big scale of with brushes and this kind of. I think he was using, as you said, a broom, and it was very cool.
Yeah, it's cool when you put your whole body into it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they can have in mind, like, how to draw in such a big area without seeing it on a camera or something. How do they know, like, how the letters?
Practice, I guess, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think with a lot of, especially with graffiti artists and, that you're doing that a lot, right? Like you're finding the feeling and the spacing and on the fly, a lot of obviously with the big letters and the big throw ups, you're kind of doing an outline first and stuff. But sometimes those big tags, those big hand styles, you got a big flare and it's just a one movement, exactly. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe I was thinking more of when you do it on the floor, which you can't really see it from
how
above.
Much can you actually see? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's not as natural. If you're just kind of doing it straight ahead.
Or when people are doing big murals where they have to be on the building, with stairs and.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. All right. Can we get a little quick zoom out on this? Just kind of want to see where we're at here. If you guys are just joining us, we are with Angelo Konofoas. Yeah, just want to tell us where we're at right now and where we're heading. We've got about 35 minutes left, Angelo, just so you know.
Okay. We have created the two different styles of lettering. One was vectorized in Illustrator. The other one was created with a mixer brush tool. And so at the moment, we're creating some clipping masks for adding shadows and highlights. So now we are on the part of highlights, which means that I'm adding some white color, like there's a light from here, so it will be more shiny on that side. And then if we have time, which I think we will, I will add some more details like lines with a pen tool. But
yeah, I mean, it's looking great. So are we going to is this for today? And then are we going to be doing something separate day 2 tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm going to continue on this design and add more highlights. So similar to what I saw earlier on my portfolio. So, I add some bubbles, some, lots of
okay, cool. So this is our main project. We're not going to be starting something else tomorrow. This is what we're going to be focusing on. Okay, awesome. I was like, please make it as cool as you can.
No, actually, this will be totally different than what it'll be in the final part because, I will add a lot of effects and also will follow the 3D process. So I'm planning to add some shapes which will be between each other. They will have shadows, which the shadows will be different depending on the depth of each letter. So it will be interesting, I promise.
Yeah, no, this is really cool.
Maybe I can add some highlights from this side, so we can have another light on the other side. So
there's secondary light or fill light.
Or,
bounce light, whatever. Plenty of different secondary lights.
And okay, so
if you really want to make something look 3D, you got your specular lights and your main key light, but those fill lights really help turn the form.
Basically one light from this side, one from the other, shadows of these lights, and the key light, and that's it. Okay, so maybe I can go with the E.
I think some of people in the chat are now understanding how important it is to label your layers, because once you start getting into those clippy masks, it can get pretty crazy.
And it's kind of it will get worse with former layers.
Do you ever group any of them, or do you usually just keep them straight out?
Yes, I will group them. I mean, each letter I will group them and change also the colors of the layers just to
visually be able to pick it up quick. I was going to say similar for me. It's like, especially with the clipping masks, it's like, okay, I'm the head might be just, I'm working on that, so it's like that has to be labeled, or like an arm, or like a piece of material, or clothing or effect. But it can get overwhelming pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And then sometimes I do mistakes and I brush in a different layer than I should, in the wrong layer, and then I find out. So you have to fix this mistake, and I believe you have done similar things, and
oh my
like,
gosh,
oh, no, wrong
I
career.
actually, it happens to me more often on the iPad, and
Yeah.
I just, it always makes me nervous on that, doing finished pieces on an iPad, just because because my hand is on it, and it's like I know I usually turn off my touch controls for most of this, like, brush parts, but I feel like I always either end up selecting a layer with my palm or something weird, and just makes me nervous.
Yeah,
but
I did
definitely
actually
done
earlier. I did a mistake, but I fixed it very quickly. So what I did, I had selected this for some reason. I didn't see that, and I had moved it like that, so you can see.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, what happened now? But thankfully, it was not a big deal.
Yeah, done intentionally could be really cool, but on accident,
Yeah.
not always fun.
Yeah, because
sometimes could be a happy accident, but not always.
And when you have so many layers, you don't really know where it is the mistake.
Yeah.
Maybe here. Okay, so let's. By the way, I can also add some things on the background. Yeah, so I can have a look how it will be in the end with the background. So yeah, what I'm going to do, I will use this. Maybe
God,
I will.
That looks cool,
this.
just like that.
Yeah, but I would like to have more contrast, so I will put that behind the black background like this, and I will add a mask on the black so I can reveal some of the previous layer, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, so I will take a smooth brush and maybe a bit. Yeah,
this is a cool technique you can do for lighting as well, with paintings, kind of having that mask and then painting into it.
Yeah, so you can have whichever parts you'd like hidden and whichever you'd like visible, right?
Yeah, and sometimes you can do it, instead of it being black or whatever, it's like you can do it as, it's almost like with acrylic, if you're painting with acrylics or oils, it'd be like a glaze almost, and like kind of revealing pieces or kind of harmonizing some of the colors. This is a cool effect.
Yeah, and so here we can use also some different brushes, but I think they work good. Like some splashes maybe, or some more splatter brushes. But I'm thinking maybe I will do that tomorrow when I will have a clear view of the final piece. But yeah, we can. I don't want to add too much. I don't want to be.
This is also smart because you're using the piece that you got the color samples for, so it's automatically going to be matched up color wise.
Yeah, and also I would like to add some shadows behind that, so the letters will create some shadows on the background.
Right, so it's gonna be floating out a little bit from that background.
Yeah, but I'm going to do this after I add all the other effects, so all of them will be on the shadow.
Gotcha.
Maybe I will group them and I will add a blending option for the shadow in the background. Okay, so yeah, let's. So, oops, sorry. I will add some highlights now, some lines like these. So let's go to letter B. Yeah, now I will add a new clipping mask. That's why I'm saying that I'm going to group them later and change the colors. So let's say line highlights, and we will see. Okay, we're in B and we're in B, that B. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will use the pen tool to create some lines based on the brush tool. So how that works is I will create a path like that. I want to be following the shape of the line. Yeah. And then if I right click and I make like stroke path, then I can use the brush tool to make the stroke, but it will take all the settings from the brush tool. So at the moment it will do that, which I don't like.
Right.
So I'm going on the brush tool, here, and I'm changing that to yeah, a small brush, maybe, yeah, maybe a bit smaller. Yeah, and this is a hard brush, so nope, where is that? Yeah, like this, but I'm going to remove the presence sensitivity on the opacity, and I will add it on the thickness. So yeah, so now if I draw, the harder I press, the thicker it will be, but the
Right.
opacity will be 100%. This way with the mouse is easier, because with the mouse you just don't need to do that. You will have the you just need to have like a normal opacity. So yeah, and so I'm taking again the pen tool, right click, stroke path. Also I would like to have the simulate pressure here, so it will be thinner on the sides and thicker on the inside, and this is what it comes with. I'm going to add many strokes like this on all of the letters, and because I would like to have it like signs, maybe, I don't know if yeah. So yeah, following the shape of the letters all the time. I can also change the, oh no, this was on the other layer, right? Okay, I'm going to remove this clipping mask, because I will do the same for all the letters. So I'm just put this above all the letters, this layer, so it will be on top. Yeah, let's color this with a gray color, so we can, yeah. Okay, right click, so path. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's starting to come together.
Yeah, and maybe I can, on the brush tool, I can make the brush a bit smaller, so I can have different thickness on the lines, like that. And maybe here I can follow, you can go with this line, like it is. Let's see. No, I think it doesn't work very well. Yeah, maybe some smaller here.
Angelo, I just want to check really quick. You've saved this, right?
That's a very, very good.
Because I know whenever I do this, I always forget to save.
I just did.
Okay, I should have reminded you earlier.
It's saving. Oh,
woo! Okay, it's saved. We're good now.
Yeah.
Yes, Wade, as Wade always puts it, sip and save.
Yeah. And sometimes I forget, and sometimes I have to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just nothing worse. Though actually, I would say the worst is that you save. I've had times where I've saved over another project on accident.
Yeah.
That happened a lot earlier in my career. Not great. Lost some final projects that I've only got tiny versions of them now.
Yeah, no, that's hard, especially when you are creating something based on something previously, but you're using the same file, then you delete everything from inside, you create some new stuff, and then you just click, Command C S, so it saves automatically, and then you realize you just lost the other one.
Yeah.
I wish there was undo on saving, things like that.
Yeah, I just wish it could have the entire file that you could just dig through. Just be where?
Okay, so what I'm going to do with these lines, I'm going to blur them a bit, because I think they're very strong now.
Which could be kind of cool if that's the look. It would almost add a sketchy feel to it if you kind of kept that hard.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I'm not going to blur them too much, just just a little bit, but
yeah,
because I'm going to use the filter, so Gaussian blur, I would like first to add all the lines and then do the filler, because I will not have control on the blur unless I do it a smart object, which I don't really want at the moment. I'm still adding lines, so yeah.
Which, I mean, I would say a lot of the times that is a sign of somebody who's also been doing stuff for a long time, or been, you know, a professional for a long time, is you really want to kind of keep to the process and the structure of things, because it is really easy to jump ahead and be like, ooh, this is gonna look so cool, or do this and that. But it is kind of important to make sure you're doing step by step, because especially with digital tools, sometimes you could get ahead of yourself and not know how you got there, and then you have to replicate it somehow, which could be difficult.
Sometimes, for example, in this case, sometimes I do the gaussian blur before, because I like to see how it will be, and then I have to make a new layer for new signs, and then a new layer for so
yeah, exactly.
Oops. So as you see, I use a lot of the pen tool. I use it in many different ways.
Which is great. I mean, I think kind of seeing it, and also being used in Photoshop as well, I don't see as often.
Yeah, that's true. Then some here. Whoops.
Angelo, just to let you know too, in about 15 minutes, we're going to start wrapping up. So just so you kind of know what our time is.
Yeah, it's good to know. But we're good with design, I think.
Oh yeah, I feel like we're at a great place right now. I'm actually surprised how much got done. This is awesome. You never know, you know. Never know how much you can get done, and you know, if sometimes it's hard.
And especially when you're doing, like, when you're trying some things. For example, now I had chosen the images before. I didn't have to try different colorful images, and so I was happy with the colors. But sometimes you have to check it, and you spend even more time on that.
Yeah, doing just a little bit of prep work goes a long way in these streams.
Yeah. Okay, I think maybe I can add one more here.
Laura Vaz, she's just joining us, and so she just had a quick question about the process. Laura, Angelo started with a pencil sketch that he had photographed and imported into Illustrator, and then from there used the pen tool and went ahead and outlined that, did some fill shapes, all black, turned it to white, brought it into a black background in Photoshop, and then went ahead and had photographs already pre-selected and showed us how to use the mixer brush. Loaded that brush with a selection from the photographs, and then did these really cool 3D like letterings, which now we're so go ahead, you can finish up.
No, it's just with I added some extra clipping mask to add some shadows, and also some highlights with a white color. So as you said, with a mixer brush tool, I used two images, one to load the brush and one to color into the brush, into the design. So this was the background which I used for the blue colors on the sides, and that was the main image to load my brush. And now we're adding highlights and whatever we can imagine. I mean, the highlights you can add could be anything you have seen in an illustration or in another lettering piece, and you'd like to include it. So we can have like highlights with the gradient here. I will add some. Okay, I think now we're good with the lines that I have put in. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a smart object because I would like to have some control on the Gaussian blur. Okay, convert to smart object, and then I'm going to filter and blur, Gaussian blur. That's too much. I don't want it that much. So maybe we can. Okay, this is not blur at all. Maybe somewhere like here, or do you think, or there?
Yeah, I think that's pretty close right there.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep it there. And
yeah, it's crazy. Just these little things and how much it really changes. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just worrying about the layers. So I may quickly, I can
Why?
make them.
Why would you be worried about
I can
that?
group them quickly, and
it's actually probably good, yeah, to kind of last few steps to get to a stopping point.
Yeah, and so this is one, this is the second. I can put them in. Yeah, D, that's letter N.
Yeah, I guess this is a good question too. Are you going to kind of, is this going to be moving more towards like a kind of like a really like a, almost like a shiny wet style, or is it going to kind of keep its kind of it's not, it's a little bit matte. I mean, it has some shine. It's kind of an in between right now.
Yeah.
Do you know which way
it's
you're
kind
going
of
to pull it?
Yeah. I think we can keep it there, so it's somewhere in between, because it was more wet before with a line which was more like, not blurred, not so blurred.
Right.
But yeah, so then I'm planning to add some more details like these in the other colors, like that. So I will add some lines here, some circles, to make the object have more character on the object, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if we're going to make it more like watercolor, but I don't think so. I think
yeah, it's very, it looks great now. Yeah, it does almost have like a ceramic feel to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, indeed. Like
good description.
I don't know. It reminds me of a plastic toy or ceramic toy, as you said. Kind of, the. Okay, and B. We have more B. Okay, now it is better. And these shadows, where are they? Yeah, for pure. That's fine. Okay. I would like to add also. I can add an underline under blend. So again, I will use the pen tool. Maybe on top of that. I will create a new layer actually, and then with a pen tool. Okay, and I'm going to take the brush tool and make it a bit bigger, like that, maybe a bit more. Yeah. And so let's see how that will be now. Maybe a bit smaller. And I'm planning to hide part of it behind some of the letters, so it will be more 3D. So maybe I will hide it behind letter L and E, but I will keep it in front of B. So I'm going to, so this is underline, and I will add a mask, yeah, there, and the, no, letter L. So yeah, I selected only the letter L, so I can brush here only, and the mask will be only on that. And letter E, same, but on the mask.
I really love this kind of thin line holding up this really like heavy letters. It's a nice contrast.
That's why I removed the other underline, because I was thinking about this. I usually add these kind of underlines. I like them too.
Mm-hmm.
And
when it's nice because
now,
you're kind of incorporating some of that pure texture, that flat texture down at the bottom.
And let's add some shadows there. Okay, change the brush to a smooth one, like that, maybe, yeah. And change the color. Nope. It is smooth, but it's because of yeah. So it's kind of giving some depth with the background and with the letters and the line on the background, like this. Maybe here we have some, from the letter as well as here. And yeah, and also we can add some shadow on the B. Which in this case I'm going to select the underline. Let's think about that. No. Okay, I could make sorry, another layer, and I will make that black, and I will put it under the underline. I will move it a bit down, and I will copy the mask into that, so it will not be here. Yeah, so this will be the underline shadow. Now it's starting getting, like, with the layers a bit more of a more complicated, but I think we'll be fine.
Well, yeah, and like you said, it's like we're doing the process, so it's like you can go back and find what you need, but you're also, a lot of this stuff you're not going to be reworking too much into those letters.
And I made it a bit blurry, but I think we are good now. Yeah, like that. So we can see this part of shadow here. It's mainly because of that, and probably on the background. But yeah. Yeah. How much time do we have?
We gotta start wrapping up. We got about 6, 8, 5 to 8 minutes left. It's like,
okay,
it's kind of
I
up
can
to us.
continue.
Yeah. You got about 8 minutes.
Okay. So let's start. Actually, not start, but making some more effects here. Okay, maybe we can add some kind of these. Shadows. So I will make a new path with with a pen tool, and maybe so I will make some shapes like these, which doesn't make it doesn't make sense to have this shape, but this is our letter, and we can make any textures like how we want it.
Right.
So yeah, let's make this shape. And I would like to make some shadows on this part then.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of an extra 3D layer on the letter.
Yeah, no, and it's not what you would expect for something like that's, at first you're like, oh, these are almost like balloon letters or something.
Yeah.
And then now it's taking on that. Then it's like ceramic. And it's like, oh my God, this almost feels like paper on top or something. Like it's kind of starting to get these multiple layers that you might have not would expect normally on something like this.
Yeah, like these designs based on the the paper effect, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, yeah. I'm not sure if I have tried this before, but I like how it works.
I was gonna say it's a simple method, but really effective.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is cool.
Okay. Oh, now look, I did a mistake.
Oh.
I added the highlights and the shadows on the same layer.
Yeah, see.
It happens often, but at least I found out about it pretty soon, so I can undo that, and I can undo the highlights, and we're good now. Okay. So we're on shadows. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And then we select inverse and change the layer. Important step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say we've got a lot done in just 2 hours. I mean, this is this is pretty cool.
Happy to hear that, because
look at this and be like, it's finished.
Nope, we have many things to do.
Yeah. No, completely.
Yeah, I'm thinking to add as many effects as I can. Maybe there will be too many, but no, I will try to make it balanced. But sometimes with lettering, that's how it works. You go over the over the limit that you should stop, like not adding more effects, but
right. When's the stopping point? Well, cool. Why don't this be our stopping point? And why don't you just tell us really quickly what we did today, and then what our goal is for tomorrow.
Yeah. So today we saw 2 lettering techniques. We created this quote pure blend. The first word was created in Illustrator with a technique like vectorizing a pencil sketch, and I inserted that into Photoshop, and I started creating the second word, which was based on the mixer brush tool, which is very powerful, and you can create 3D effects with that. And so we used 2 different colorful images to create this effect. One was to load our brush, and one was to draw on it so we can mix it with the background. That's where the colors came from. And then we started to adding effects. And the effects we did today was the highlights. So we created a clipping mask to add highlights to each letter separately. And shadows, which we draw manually. It's kind of illustrating the highlights and the shadows, not add them as blending options. Right. And we added also some highlights with using the pen tool. We use the pen tool a lot in different kind of techniques. And we added also the background, which is based on the images that we used before for the mixer brush tool. And tomorrow we're going to have even more decorations and details. I'm going to create more line like this, and like more 3D illusions in the other letters. I'm going to add I'm going to create some bubbles. I will illustrate them from scratch, so they will not be ready. And so we'll have plenty of bubbles around. So they will match also with the background, because we have some bubbles on the image.
Right.
And then I have several effects in mind about different kind of decorations. And in the end, we're going to add some adjustment layers, which will be the brightness, to control the brightness and contrast, the levels, the curves. We can play with the colors with hue and saturation, and all the color lookup, which I use a lot, and it's very good. And yeah, and also people on the chat can let us know if they have any preference on colors or any effects that they have seen on other YouTube videos of mine, and they would like to see how this will be done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
All
that's the
right.
main.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, you gave me more than I thought. It's amazing. Well, Angelo, thank you so much for joining us today in day one. This has been a pleasure. I can't wait for day two. Please, guys, join us tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for day two with Angelo Konofoas. We're going to be finishing up these 3D letters in Photoshop. Really excited for it. Also, continuing the logo theme, stick around for a creative encore of the Illustrator Creative Challenges, where you'll learn how to create and use logos in the app. Immediately following, join video editor and social media creator Noah Feiner, where he will show you how to edit a product commercial with Premiere and After Effects. We love After Effects. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you very much.